Alright guys, I got something here that I have to get off my chest, and I figured I'd do a YouTube video and let you guys all come along and see what you think. What we're going to talk about is, since when in this country did a thug's word or testimony become as credible as a seasoned veteran officer? Or I should say a seasoned or a veteran officer. Because that's exactly what's going on here in the Michael Brown case. What you have here is a guy named Dorian Johnson that is no good, and I'll tell you how I know he's no good. It has nothing to do with him being black, but I'll explain to you in a little bit why I say that. And they are literally, this is the key witness in the case, and this guy has as much credibility right now at this point in the media as a seasoned police officer. One of the things that's going on here is, in this country right now, in order to maintain political correctness and not to offend, races and things, unfortunately we're having to stoop to certain levels that has never happened before in this country. I don't believe any one of those witnesses in that community that say they've seen anything. Civilian witnesses can be very unreliable. You may get one good witness out of 100 people that see something, maybe one. Especially if it's something stressful, something violent, or something very disturbing. The credibility of civilian witnesses, viewed from different angles, can change from one person to the other almost into a complete different story than what had really happened, especially under duress. But I believe that they have it out for the officer because it turned into a white-black issue, which is basically all I feel it is. It's a white-black issue. The people in Ferguson, Missouri are not protesting the shooting, they're protesting against whites. That's the way I see it. I'm just being real here. This channel isn't politically correct, and that's one of the great things about YouTube, but I'm just keeping it real here. They're protesting because it was a white officer that shot a black man, and that's the way I feel that it is. Okay, so we got this really good piece of video. Okay, I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but I'm not using no notes, guys, so this is the way I do it. A lot of you like this, the way I do it this way, but this is just the way I do it. I run with no notes. Let's kind of start from the beginning. Michael Brown is about, I think he's about an inch taller than me. He's about 6'4" and 330 pounds, I believe. I could be a little bit off on that, but not by much. So he's about 6'4", 330 pounds, and he doesn't shoplift like some of these people are saying on that's against the police officer. He commits strong-arm robbery. Okay, because first in the video, you see him reaching behind the counter, and I feel that he's already assaulting this older man that owns the store, or that works, or he either owns it or works there. Because I see a struggle going on behind the counter, and both of Michael Brown's arms are behind the counter, and you have the little old man that works there. So I believe right there that old man is getting assaulted. So what did this guy do? This is going to lay some groundwork to give you some of my thoughts on this shooting, what I'm about to tell you here. I believe that the man's getting assaulted there so that he can grab a handful of blunts or cigars, whatever, Black and Milds. I don't know what they were. Some kind of small cigar that he wanted to steal. So he basically just stepped in that store like, hey, I own, like, he stepped in the store like he owned the joint. He just stole it and was going to bully and do whatever he had to anybody that stepped in his way. So he takes the small cigars, Black and Milds, whatever, goes toward the door, and the old man that works there comes around and tries to get him to pay for the items that he's taking. Okay, at this time, he grabs this old man up around, it looks to me like by the neck, and throws him back. Okay, yeah, gentle giant, right? That's what they said about him when this first came out in the news, that he was a gentle giant. So we already know there's a lot of liars um, trying to convict this police officer right from the get-go. It's not a gentle giant that grabs an old man by the neck and throws him after you committed strong arm robbery on him. Um, then the old guy is still trying to get his money, and then very menacingly he comes walking back toward him like he's going to pound him, pound him out, punch him out, knock him out, and the old man then retreats. Okay, after this. Okay, now the reason I'm laying that groundwork is because I believe that this shows everything about Michael Brown's attitude and the way he was that is the exact reason why he got shot and why he's dead. First of all, let me give you a clue. You don't want to get shot by police? Do what they say and quit breaking the law. That's the most wise instruction I could give you. Don't break the law and listen to the police if they tell you to do something if you don't want to get shot. Heed those words. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. Okay, anyway. After this, Michael Brown is walking down the middle of the street with that Dorian Johnson guy. We'll get to him later. And the policeman tells them to... The policeman, I believe, knows about the robbery, doesn't know it's Michael Brown that did it yet. He tells them to walk on the sidewalk, which he should have. That's a police officer's job. You want the street clear. You don't want it unsafe for drivers. It could cause an accident. There's several things that could happen. There was a sidewalk. Okay, guys, walk on the sidewalk. This is where the confrontation started. Okay, instead of Michael Brown and his buddy walking on the sidewalk, they don't want to listen to the police officer. Like I said, stupidity is how this started. Very, very stupid things are what led up to this, let alone the strong arm robbery. Okay, now, I believe that what I seen was now the police officer seen the cigars and realized that he had the guy, because of the description, that just did a strong arm robbery. Now... The police officer contends that when he went to open his door, Michael Brown used all of his body weight and slammed it back shut. Now, Michael Brown's side contends that the police officer went to open the door and it bounced off of them. It was just a simple bounce. He just opened it. He was too close. Didn't realize that we were standing there, even though he was looking at us. Tried to open his door, but it bounced off of us back closed. That's not true, because that's not the Michael Brown that was stealing in that convenience store. Thank goodness we got that tape, that video footage, because it shows his true self. What I believe happened was the officer went to open the door, and Michael Brown used all of his weight and went like this, and I believe he dove in the window at the officer and started to hit the officer just like he grabbed that old man up by his neck. Now, Michael Brown's side and the friend Dorian Johnson is saying that the officer pulled Michael Brown into a vehicle. Now let me ask you this. If you've ever been in a fight, or you'd ever think you're going to be in a fight, or ever witnessed a fight, have you ever seen a man that is in a compromising position, sitting, pull the man that's going to pull a man into him like this? That would be the worst move, the worst police academy training that I've ever seen. If they said, take a 330-pound, 6'4" guy and pull him through your car window on top of you. Because, yeah, that's how you subdue somebody, and that's how you win the fight. Absolutely not. What happened was Michael Brown went right in that window and tried to pummel that officer. That's when the officer shot him in the arm. The autopsy reports are already showing that there was no palms up like this, like, oh, I surrender, I'm such a good guy, I don't do anything wrong. I walk old ladies across the street. That's what the media is trying to tell us happened. But you can't. The autopsy reports don't lie, and there was none of this. He couldn't have been like this with the way the bullet shots, or the way the gunshots are in the body. This is what I believe happened. After he shot him in the arm, when Michael Brown was in the car pummeling the officer, on top of him in the most dominant position, and this would be the worst position to be in for the police officer if it's a fight. Anytime you're sitting down or laying down or you're not on your feet, anyone over you has the advantage. Okay, no matter if they're smaller, bigger, whatever, they have the advantage if they're over top of you. And I believe that's when he got the gun out. And I believe that Michael Brown even went for the gun. But that's when he got the gun out. He shot him in the arm. And then I believe after the officer got out of the car, I believe Michael Brown tried to charge him and continue to get to him to do what he could. And listen, when you're always trained, officers, military, other agencies, you shoot until the threat is stopped. I wish the public would get this through their head. I wish civilians would learn this. I wish the news media would talk about this. You don't shoot somebody in the leg. You don't say, well, they were holding a knife, so I shot their arm. That's Hollywood junk. You shoot until the threat is stopped. It might be 10 shots. It might be 1. But you keep pulling that trigger until the threat is stopped. And that is what anybody that's got any credibility that trains anybody in the United States will tell you. So I don't want to hear this stuff of, well, why was there 7 shots, or, this and that. That is such a bogus theory right there, to try to claim that this cop just seen this black guy walking and was like, hey, I don't like him. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so it's very disturbing to me that, this Dorian Johnson guy, this was his friend, his buddy. He was in the store with him, allowed him to do this to the old man. What kind of a guy is that, this Dorian Johnson? He's just as big of a creep as Michael Brown was. And they're giving this guy's testimony. The media is acting like this guy's testimony has as much credibility as a seasoned officer. It's ridiculous. I've never heard of such idiocy in my whole life. Can you believe this, America? Can you believe the road we're headed down? Can you believe this? That a common criminal thug, his testimony, his words are given more credibility than a veteran officer on the news media? It astounds me. I'm sorry. I just can't fathom this. I can't fathom it. It's only to appease a few, and the people that are burning down their own neighborhood. We need to just take it back and say, hey, if you want to burn your neighborhood down, you go ahead and burn your neighborhood down. After all these millions of dollars that's now been wasted, and the officer's acquitted, like he will be, it's going to be just another big mess that tons of money was spent on for nothing, for absolutely nothing, to try to appease people that burned down their own city. Okay, like I said, I'm not politically correct here. If you want that, you better go somewhere else. I'm telling things like they are. You're not going to hear it from the LA Times, from the Washington Post, or from the I'm sorry, it's slipping my mind right now. But there's 3 main media outlets in the United States, and they're all liberal, and they all use it to their advantage, okay? And they all stick up for the minorities, and I don't know why this is, but they all stick up for the minorities even when the evidence is showing otherwise. Now, if you want to stick up for a minority and the evidence is showing that the minority was in the right, well, then I back you 100% on that. But this kind of craziness, this kind of insaneness that's going on, I cannot back it. Okay, they've coached this Dorian Johnson. They've coached him on how to speak and everything. He's like they're dressing him up and and all this stuff, and they're just trying to use any advantage they can, but it's not going to work. He's just as no good rotten as Michael Brown was, as that Dorian Johnson, and we'll see in the end what happens. But yeah, it's a mess, and I can't believe that we're letting things get like this in this country. You have some poor witnesses at best that were in windows up above the street that are claiming that that Michael Brown was shot while he was on the ground on his knees and all this other stuff, and I don't believe it for 1 minute. I believe that officer's been on the force for 15 years. If he's been on the force for 15 years, What made this day, when he woke up, say, this is the day I'm going to murder somebody execution style, when he didn't do it the last 15 years that he's been on duty? It needs to stop, because what's going to happen by this in this country is there's going to be a backlash against police, and there's going to be people, as so-called, that some people will call heroes, that will probably try to go out and purposely kill police officers. And see, if we don't get this stopped and nip it in the bud right now, it's just going to lead down a road that's going to lead to a lot more trouble. What do you do? Let's just be real here. Let's not beat around the bush. What do you do in a mostly black city, when you have white police officers now that's patrolling? Anybody answer me that question? Do you think it would be hard? Do you think it would be much harder now, with all this publicity and all this stuff that's going on? Do you think it would be harder now for that man to do his job in that town? Or do you think it would be easier? I think it would be much tougher. I think it would be much scarier for the officer and his family. Like, would he make it home at night? Just thinking that somebody could just think that they are going to retaliate for something they see the media put a spin on, that's somewhere else in the country, and they shoot this officer for no reason. It's happening. These things happen. So that's my thoughts. I hope I didn't leave anything out. I have no notes. I'm going off the cuff. It's just my thoughts. I'm going to get that off my chest and see what you guys think about it. Like I said, don't get the wrong idea. I don't care what color that this guy was. Whether he was white, whether he was Indian, whether he was Spanish or Oriental. It would not have mattered to me. When I seen the strong arm robbery and the way he grabbed the old man, it showed me how he lives his life, and how and just basically his mindset, his attitude. And that right there is what guided my whole thought process on this. And it's a good thing we have that video. It's kind of like karma, What goes around comes around. I don't believe in superstitious things, but what comes around goes around. He strong arm robbed this man, did something to him behind the counter, grabbed him up by the neck, and you see what happened. And then this video came out just when everybody was saying how much of a gentle giant he was, and never swat a fly. And then we see the truth come out. So it just kind of gives me a base to think, hey, this is the attitude of that guy. This is what he acted like. This is what he did. This is where his mindset was at. He would just grab somebody up like that and just throw them for no reason, just other than to rob them. That is a robbery. It's not it's not a burglary, but it's a robbery. It's because in the manner in which he did it. He used his body as the weapon and his fists as the weapon. There was no gun, no knife, but it was a strong arm robbery. And he just walked in there and said, I'm just going to take whatever I want. I don't care about you. I'm just taking whatever I want. And that's exactly the same way he acted to that police officer when he pulled up on the side of the road. This I can guarantee you. All right, guys, until next time, I hope you have a great day. And I got more videos coming real soon. And I'm out.